Hey, what's up guys? Glenn coming to you here from my home to bring you another video. Today I want to talk about my recent through hike of the River to River Trail. I had an attempt previous to that unfortunately did not follow through successfully because of unpredictable weather. But I wanted to touch base a little bit on the truths and myths that surround this trail and certain information that I've seen people ask and inquire about Facebook forums or other things that I've seen. And this gives me another opportunity, I feel, to put more information out there, particularly on YouTube, so people can research about the trail, people that are interested in visiting or through hiking the trail. The River to River Trail is 157.7 miles long. The total elevation gain for the trail is 15,291 feet. And that's stretching from the Mississippi River to the Ohio, or if you're doing it the other way around, you're going from the Ohio to the Mississippi. It's the same both ways. So how long does it take to hike the River to River Trail? Well, that all depends upon how much of the trail you want to cover and the time length in which you want to give yourself to cover it. Especially if there's two sections, there's the new trail, which goes from Elizabethtown to Grand Tower. But there's also the old part of the trail, which I don't even know if you can hike it anymore, from Battery Rock to Grand Tower. Again, you'd have to do further research. I'm not sure if the Battery Rock leg of the trail is accessible. I know they kind of closed it off because of flooding, and that's why they did the reroute to Elizabethtown. But there's a website. I'll add a link in the description, and I'll put it right here so you can see it. Check out the website. There's all sorts of information. There's a trail guide, a lot of resources there. So again, how long does it take to hike the trail? As I said, it depends on how much of the trail you're trying to cover and the time length you want to give yourself. I mean, if you're averaging 10 to 20 miles a day, you can complete this trail anywhere between 8 to 15 days. The fastest known time of the trail is recorded at 2 days and 14 hours, but that was a trail runner. That's nonstop. That's go, 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 go. If you really want to enjoy the trail, you can really stretch it out as long as you want. Again, it all depends on the window you want to give yourself to hike the trail. What does food resupply look like on this trail? There are tons of post offices along the trail. You got Harrod, you got Eddyville, you got Goreville, you got McCanda, you got Alto Pass. You just have to be mindful that these post offices run on kind of unusual business hours. It's not like your normal post office in Chicago or the suburbs anywhere. It's a lot different. Some of them are open 2 hours a day. Some of them are open 4 hours a day. You just have to look up the hours for the post office and just kind of plan accordingly with your hikes. But there are tons of post offices that you can send your boxes to. If you haven't sent yourself a resupply box, don't. There are plenty of places to get food along the trail. There's a place called Gap Bar, which is like a mile from the trail near Harrod. They got food. They even allow people to camp, from what I understand, in their lot. They got Shotgun Eddie's in Eddyville. You got AC's in Goreville that has food. You got a Dollar General in Goreville. You got the Goreville Food Market. Going a little bit further, you got the Giant City Lodge Restaurant, which is a must. And then you got the McCanda General Store. You got Duty's Country Store in Alto Pass. If you're packing food out, you could probably just pack 3 to 4 days worth of food and survive on the rest of the food that the trail provides. There's tons of places in between to get food. If you want to pack your entire trip worth, you can. It all depends on what you want to do. I'm just saying, for me personally, what I did, I packed about 3 to 4 days worth of food when I first started. And when I had to resupply in Goreville, I packed another 3 to 4 days. There was plenty of food in between that I didn't have to pack a full 9 days worth of food. I think the longest stretches of the trail in which there's no places to get food would be between Elizabethtown and Harrod is one. That's a big stretch. Harrod to Eddyville, that's another stretch. Eddyville to Goreville, there's another stretch. Goreville to Giant City, and Alto Pass to Grand Tower. Those are the main stretches on the trail in which you really don't have a whole lot of options to get food. So pack accordingly or resupply accordingly for those big stretches. Hanging your food. Do you have to hang your food on this trail? You don't. There's no bears in Shawnee National Forest. I've heard people say stories that bears pass through, occasionally. I have never witnessed a bear, and based upon reports I've seen, there's no bears. For the amount of deer that are down there, there's definitely no bears. I would, however, suggest that you hang your pack. And the reason for this is there are all sorts of mice and critters down there that will dig just to get into your pack if they smell something that they like. On my thru hike, especially in those well-populated campgrounds like Panther Den or Petticoat Junction, to name a couple, lots of mice and critters there that will try to get into your stuff. Practice proper food storage when you're hiking. Use odor-proof bags and hang your pack. How much water should you carry while you're hiking this trail? That, again, depends on when you want to hike the trail, really. If you're hiking it in the late summer or the fall, the trail is going to be dry. So in October 2022, when I did my first attempt, there was no water down there. And I carried about 2 liters of water plus a 750 milliliter bottle. So altogether, 2.75 liters is what I carried. I had somebody that cached water out there for me, but comfortably, 2.75 liters was just the right amount. But this depends on how much water you feel like you need personally. If you're hiking the trail in early spring, I would say maybe 1.75 liters. That's, a 1 liter bottle and a 750 milliliter bottle. And the reason why is because there's water in the spring. With the spring rain, there's tons of water. Obviously, however much water you're comfortable carrying is how much water you should bring, keeping in mind in the back of your head that 1 liter of water is 2 pounds. Just remember that. And again, depending on how dry the creek beds and stuff are in the fall, you might need to cache water, and that's leaving water at specific sites throughout your hike to where you can resupply water if you need to because of the water levels if they're dry. Ask, and the trail provides. There's also locals out there that might offer their water from their house, from a spigot or something. Don't be afraid to ask. Tons of friendly people down there. Obviously, use your own best judgment if you feel like you should ask somebody or not. That's, again, going off everyone's own personal comfort. Always filter your water. Always filter your water with a reliable water filter. If you're using water from the creek beds, if you're getting it from like a spigot or something, I wouldn't worry so much about filtering the water, but definitely filter your water if you're getting into the creek beds or a lake or a stream or something like that. With the creek crossings, I've had a lot of people ask me and have been skeptical of doing this trail because they were scared of how deep some of these creek crossings are. Let me just make one thing perfectly clear. You're not crossing a river. You're not crossing a lake. You're crossing creeks. And I think one section of the trail we had hit right after a severe thunderstorm where it was just torrential downpour rain. And the deepest creek we crossed was probably about up to my waist, maybe a little bit higher, 4.5, maybe 4 feet, which is deep, obviously. Depending on what you're carrying, you want to be careful, but it's not like impassable, I've seen videos of people that would come across the creek and they would be so petrified that they would just turn around and quit. The creeks are passable. Even if they're full, they're passable. Just persevere. Adapt and persevere. That's what I would do. But again, this is all based off your own comfort and what you want to do. Take the crossing slow. Be smart. Be careful. Camping in certain places like Shotgun Eddies or camping in Goreville or camping in McCanda. If it's posted no camping, don't camp there. Okay. Most businesses are kind enough if you ask in advance notice. Don't just show up and say, hey, I pitched a tent in your backyard. Is that cool? Be respectful. Make advance notice. Call them up. Say, hey, is it possible that on this day I might be able to come through and pitch a tent? And I would say in extreme rare circumstances, if you're hiking the trail and it's like an emergency and you need to pitch a tent, just, be smart about it. Think about it. Utilize stealth camping, I would say, if you absolutely have to. But like I know McCanda doesn't, it's posted no camping. I don't know. I've seen people that might have camped there. I don't know if they allow it, but it's posted no camping. As far as camping in Goreville, you're not that far from the state park. So really, you could just camp in the state park. Shotgun Eddies, I've heard stories that they allow people to camp on their property. I haven't done it personally, but I bet if you ask and you're kind, they'd be kind enough. There's dispersed camping along the trail, and that's free. If you're in a wilderness area, it's free. But if you're camping at a campground like in a state park, there could be a fee. Keep that in mind. There could be a fee. I would contact the campground or the state park for more information about that. Where can you park while you're doing the river to river trail? That's a big one that I hear. Obviously, depending on which end you want to start and finish, you can park at either end. In Grand Tower, Devil's Backbone Park, if you reference the trail guide, they suggest that you communicate with a man named Will at Devil's Backbone Park, who is the president of the park. Call him to arrange that and get permission. In Elizabethtown, there's the Hardin County Sheriff's Office. Obviously, you want to call them, show up at their office when you're starting your hike to get specific instructions from them as far as where to park, but that is an option in Elizabethtown. The U.S. Department of Agricultural Forest Service states that overnight parking is allowed at trailheads, at designated trailheads for up to 14 days. If you're trying to figure out what those designated trailheads are, there's a list of them with directions posted for the Shawnee National Forest on the USDA website. I'll give you a number right below here. If you call this number, you can inquire as to where those trailheads are and directions to them, or they'll probably just direct you to the website. Moving on, shuttle services and escort rides. The only option I can really suggest for this is Bart Lane's Shawnee Guided Tours. From what I'm seeing in my own personal experience and from what I hear, he's the only man that can provide rides. If you're trying to get a ride, unless you know somebody that lives down there, if you're trying to arrange from a local business down there to get a ride, he is your only option. There's no Uber down there. There's no Lyft. There's no cabs. At least I didn't see any cabs down there at all. Navigating the trail. I can't say this enough. If you go to the trail website, they suggest downloading an app on your phone called Avenza. And they also offer the maps for this trail. It's 28 maps. They offer it for free. Always check it when you come across an intersection or a crossing, because I guarantee you that's where you're going to get thrown off for a loop and get lost. Don't get lost out there. Several times I've gotten off trail by mistake, and using that app was the only thing that got me back on trail. Because you most likely will get lost, and at one point or another, you'll be glad that you have that app. There are blazes.
The majority of the trail is marked with sturdy plastic diamonds depicting a white field overlay with a blue eye. However, when the trail travels through wilderness areas, the markers are cedar diamonds with the eye chiseled into the surface.
There also seems to be more blazes posted when you're traveling the trail east to west. I noticed going west to east, there's certain areas where there needs to be, I think personally, more blazes. But going east to west, what I did up to Goddard Crossing, there's a ton of places. You can't get lost. I got lost once going west to east, and it was because of the app that I was able to get back on trail. Wet feet on the trail. Make sure you have proper footwear because your feet will get wet on this trail. Remember, your feet are what's going to get you through this trail, nothing else. So take care of your feet, wear the proper footwear. I use Ultra Lone Peaks just because of how fast they can drain and how versatile they are as a shoe, as a trail running shoe. Places along the trail to charge electronics. I'll just go through and name a few right now that I don't think a lot of people know about. So starting the trail at Sinclair gas station, there's a place that you can sit and plug in your electronics. So it's like a little barbecue shop that's attached to the gas station. High Knob Campground. There is an outlet outside of their camp store there. Herod Springs Baptist Church, they have a shelter that they made specifically for hikers that has outlets, powered outlets. There. Shotgun Eddies is another option. They have outlets there that they let people use to charge their electronics. Acey's in Goreville is another option. There's a shower house at Ferncliff State Park that has outlets. Hilltop Campground, down the highway a bit. There's outlets there, but I would talk to the owner first, obviously. Giant City State Park is an option. And Devil's Backbone Park is another option. Those are places that I noticed along the trail that I was able to charge my electronics up. Definitely bring a reliable charged battery bank. Make sure it's powered up enough to last you about 2 to 3 days in between charging. Bugs and ticks. They are out there, but it's also depending on when you go to when you will experience them. Always treat your clothes with permethrin. Always. Regardless what season, make sure you treat your clothes. Spring and summer are the worst times to go down there, in my own personal experience, for ticks. Worst time. In the fall, it's beautiful. I didn't come across any ticks, but again, make sure you treat your clothes and your gear with permethrin. Cell service and reception in the Shawnee National Forest. We're going to cover that now. Most of the trail, you'll have service. Some service. Maybe a bar, maybe more. There are some parts along the trail that are like dead zones. Less Creek, One Horse Gap, Panther Den, Crab Orchard. Those are the ones that come to the top of my head that I know for a fact. You're not going to get any cell service in there. Another topic that I've heard brought up a lot is aggressive dogs. There are dogs in southern Illinois, and most people that live down there do not chain up their dogs or fence them. I only came across one that I can think of. My best advice I could say to that is mind your own business, pay no mind, walk away, don't eyeball the dog. All the dogs, for the most part, are friendly, but obviously you should never touch someone's dog without permission. Just be mindful, especially if you're considering doing this trail with a dog. There are dogs that are not leashed on this trail. Snakes on the trail. I think one time I might have heard some rustling in the bushes that I was pretty convinced was a snake. But in April when I did this trail and in October when I did this trail, I didn't see any snakes whatsoever. Stay on trail, and if you encounter what you think is a snake or you see a snake, slow, wide steps around the snake. Just be smart. Don't bother them. They won't bother you. What kinds of animals will you come across on this trail? Well, there's the possibility of snakes, bobcats. There's definitely deer out there you will see. Possums, raccoons, skunks, mice. That's about the gist of what I experienced down there. Make sure you're mindful of hunting season in the Shawnee National Forest. But if you're nervous about hiking during a hunting season, just research the dates. You're wearing hunter orange. But if you don't like hiking during hunting season, don't hike during hunting season. That's all. Weather. Do your research and keep an eye on the weather reports and the forecasts daily. If you want to know what kind of weather you're going to be hiking in, check the weather often, daily. Check it daily. But the Shawnee National Forest is very spontaneous when it comes to the weather. You really need to check it every day. Don't hike during a thunderstorm. There are many areas along the trail that could be hazardous, especially during high wind gusts. Just be mindful of your surroundings and check the reports daily. If you have any other questions about this trail, this website is where you need to go. They have a trail guide. It has an immense amount of information, useful information for anybody that's trying to hike this trail, through hike this trail. Just a ton of resources in that trail guide. If you have a question, the answer to it is in this trail guide. river-to-rivertrail.net. Download the PDF, read it. Otherwise, do your research online. Go into this trail prepared. Go into it ready. The more prepared you are, the more enjoyable the experience you will have. You can always use Google or YouTube as a resource. Well, I think that's it for this video. I hope I covered enough information for anybody that's thinking about doing this trail. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned. More videos, more content coming soon. If you like this video, hit the like button down below. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't, for adventures, hiking, and some of my own personal life. Thank you again for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day. All right, take care.